Hi, Joe Tramontano here to talk a little bit about drum theory, this time with double bass. And I'm going to do something kind of interesting that I learned from a tape I seen from Mike Portnoy, which I spoke about in a couple of videos back. This was actually the same video, only he went into, how to practice double bass. And this is the interesting thing about this is that you could do it on any kit. The only thing is you just have to make sure you have, two pedals, that's all. But it's just a 16th note pattern that's broken up between the snare, the double bass, and the toms. And as a fill, it's a way to do a whole lot in a very, very short segment of whatever bridge or whatever song you're doing, depending on the genre. It's a little heavy, and it tends to be something more akin to like, a hard rock sound, but there are so many things that you could do. Otherwise, I'm going to show it to you on paper, and then I'm going to demonstrate it.
Now, as you can see, I actually wrote it out on a blank bar line. There's 16th notes all across the board, and I ended with a 16th eighth note. As you can see on the top, that's the snare drum, the very, very top line. The one right below it is the mounted tom. The one down from that, 2 or 3 lines or so, is the floor tom. And the one at the very bottom, obviously, is the double bass. When you try to play it, start out slow and then build a more faster tempo. You want to develop a relaxed feel as you speed it up, so it's going to take some time. But you'll see that you'll be able to gain dexterity and you'll be able to sound better once you're able to do it at a faster pace. This is something that's really meant to do in little bridges and transitions, and you'll find that you'll get a very, very good sound.
Okay, now another thing that I actually saw him do on that videotape was a beat that was just rode by 16th notes on the double bass while he was hitting the rock ride, the bell of the rock ride, quarter notes, and 2 and 4 on the snare. Then he would do a fill and then go into a halftime feel and then go into a fill again and then go into triplets, which was pretty cool. And it's a good thing that I actually kind of used to, I guess, alternate and kind of learn transitions and whatnot. It's not so much the time signature, it's what you're changing with your hands while your feet stay the same, okay? And it's something that's pretty cool. It was pretty interesting to learn. It could give you more flexibility if you get the hang of it. And I actually drew it on paper on a bar line to kind of give you an idea of what it looks like visually. And I also demonstrated.
Now, the good thing about the whole line that you're reading is that it's in a 4/4 count, so the fills you can easily figure out in terms of where to place them. It's basically how to play the beat, and it's pretty simple and self-explanatory. There's 16th notes with the double bass, and I marked an X for the bell of the cymbal, and on 2 and 4 I also inserted a note for the snare drum, where it comes in. And as you can see, it's basically a 4/4 count. Now on the second bar, it has a halftime feel. Now I'm doing the same thing with my feet. The only difference is that the placement of my hands is different, and it gives the illusion of being, or it pretty much is, a halftime feel. Instead of 16th notes, they're eighth notes. And it comes on the downbeat of 2 and 4. Just like it came on the downbeat of 2 and 4 with the 16th notes, but because they're eighth notes, it actually sounds a little faster. Now, with the triplets, when I alternate it, it's my hands that I change. My feet are still doing the same thing. And on the first bar line, you can see that the triplet starts on the first note from 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay? Now my hands are pretty much the same in that respect. The only difference is that with my feet, the triplet will actually start with either my right or my left foot. On 1 and 3, the triplet starts with my right foot. On 2 and 4, the triplet starts with my left foot. And then I actually do something pretty interesting to change it up. If you look at the second bar line, It actually is on every other note of the triplet, and it gives the beat a kind of tribal feel, which is pretty cool. Again, like I said with the fills, you can always figure out where to place those because it's a 4-chord count. What you may want to do is, as you play this, look at it on paper and try and listen to the way I do it if you really want to use me as a guide, or try to find those kind of beats. They have a lot of books that actually explain double bass. And then play it yourself to a metronome if you feel comfortable. And as you gain momentum and as you're able to speed up the tempo and gain a relaxed feel, you're going to sound better. Okay, now the great thing about a lot of that stuff is that you're actually not alternating as much as you may think. You always wind up, or at least when I do it, I always wind up on the right hand. And, I mean, it probably had sounded better, but I mean, it was good enough to demonstrate to you what's going on. And I always felt that, you know, depending on the band that you're in, your drum kit is basically the whole percussion orchestra within itself. In more ways than you may realize. It really may not be exactly, you know, how much you stand out. It's the way you work with everybody else and the way it fits in with everybody else. And it's also about how well you make everybody else sound and how you feed off of each other. Because by itself, it's only so good. And, or so well, excuse my grammar. But either way, it's pretty simple, and if you're just starting out with double bass, I think that this is a pretty good video to kind of get you acclimated with it. I hope you actually found something insightful about it, and I'm probably going to be back with my next video with brushes. Until then, enjoy, and be well.